Tuesday's daily update from the Greene County, Indiana jail from self-described historical figure Craig Hendry was a letdown to fans following his failure to prove much of anything with his release of his deposition of Linton, Indiana Police Chief Paul Clark, which served as Monday's update. The Tuesday update featured a laid-back Hendry looking forward to a visit with his girlfriend and 2 children in a number of hours. He complimented the meal he had earlier, calling the 3D printed meat tolerable. He also reminded his fans that all of the time he is currently serving will ultimately count as time served for whatever sentence he is going to receive next week. He had been found guilty of making a false report about a police officer and ordered into custody earlier in the month, and faces up to 180 days in jail for the misdemeanor offense. According to Hendry, this would be reduced further by his time served, and his maximum time would be 79 days in jail, when factoring in time off for good behavior. He almost complimented jail staff, saying that unlike the Vermilion County Jail, where he served time for a felony conviction earlier this year, the guards weren't aggressive, and no one was trying to get him banished to the hole on a daily basis. He promised further updates on Wednesday and ended the address after 3 minutes. The address itself was seen as a letdown to his fans after a disastrous release of the Clark deposition on Monday. Hendry, serving as his own attorney, was given the opportunity to depose Police Chief Paul Clark as part of the lead-up to the Greene County trial. The YouTuber had billed the recording as explosive and would prove the police were conspiring against him. Instead, the audio recording itself saw Hendry get a small win as Clark openly admitted that he and his police force treated Hendry differently. That victory faded, however, as Clark explained that the special attention was because of Hendry's use of provocation and insults that usually brought negative attention towards himself. The curly-haired YouTuber tried to ask leading questions that essentially went nowhere, including multiple versions of the question, "Do you regret any of the arrests that you've made in your career?" And how would Clark say that he had personal knowledge of the events when he only read the police reports and watched the body cam videos and wasn't on the scene? Hendry did himself no favors by his line of questioning that led to absolutely no evidence of a daylight incident where police supposedly broke into Hendry's home, ransacked Hendry's belongings, and left a broken front door before later returning to arrest Hendry. Instead, Clark established that police waited until a judge signed off on an arrest warrant for Hendry and only made the arrest after receiving the go-ahead from Clark. More importantly, Clark established that the body cam videos showed that despite claims by Hendry, the door to Hendry's home was intact during the event and was clearly intact when police left the scene. Hendry made no attempt to ask the police chief about the supposed earlier incident with police. This comes off as a missed opportunity, as Hendry's case hinged on the existence of that earlier episode of police supposedly trashing the house and leaving the broken door. If that incident happened despite Hendry's use of phrases like he was kidnapped and held against his will in a concrete cage, it shows that Hendry was not lying when he made the statement that police trashed his house and only came back later to arrest him. Hendry instead focused on his attempts to show his dominance over the police chief by repeatedly asking the same pointless questions without a focus on what he needed to do. Even when he came close to having a usable point, with questions about an arresting officer who was later fired from the force and jailed, he did not press the issue and seemed to enjoy returning to his sad attempt to toy with the police chief. The audio itself, if reflective of Hendry's line of questioning of Clark at trial, showed the YouTuber doing little to defend himself by showing that earlier incident happened. It was a missed opportunity to help his case or prove his innocence, and left his failed attempt to blame society for his belief that he was kidnapped by police as the reason for his conviction. Hendry is expected to provide another update later today.